All right, so this video is going to be in a bit of a different format. This video is going to be mostly a overview and a walkthrough of the Instagram uploader tool that I've built using AutoUploader 2. What this does is runs through the multiple clones on Instagram that you will see running throughout the video here in the background. See that I'm playing back a video. All I've done is record the uploader running through its process, and then I'm then going to voice over the top of the video due to the sensitive nature of the information. I'm going to have to blur a lot of it out. Don't want to be exposing any accounts, account names, etc., etc. So what we're going to start with here is, as in my previous videos on phone automation, see that the phone in the middle of the screen, in this case in the middle of the video on the screen, is plugged into my computer and using screen copy to display that on the device. We'll get started. So what the script is doing is, when we go through the code later, you will see that it will ask me which device I want to run this on. On the other screen, I've put in we want to run device 1. Once the script initiates, it is then going to generate a list of all the Instagram applications on the device, and then it is going to iterate through each of the Instagrams one at a time. So you'll see here that this first Instagram is not logged in. I've built in checking and error handling so that when we come up on a login screen on an Instagram that is not logged in, there's going to login error, and then we're just going to move on essentially. So you'll see we've instantly closed that, and then we've opened up the next Instagram. So once again, you have to blur out a lot of things here, so bear with me. So what you'll see here is the application running through at 1.3 times, so we can move through it a little bit quicker because there is a lot of manual waits. So if you didn't catch that just there, with UI Automator, everything is going to be clicked. So it's going to be a stage of clicks, and that is how we navigate through. In a second, you're going to see our first click. So we're going to click down here at the new profile, and so you'll see we clicked on the new profile. This is going to load up the new post page on Instagram, obviously. So you'll see our next click is going to be here in recents, so that we're going to open up all the albums. And then we're going to, just before I pause it, you were seeing that we're going to click on see all. The reason that we're clicking on see all is because these are the most recent albums that have been used, so we want to be able to see all the albums. So this is going to pop open all the albums on the device. Now, the way that I am picking out which albums that we need to be uploading is using OCR, essentially a computer vision library that is taking a screenshot of the device, sending that off to a computer vision library and extracting all the names and looking for the name that we extracted earlier in the profile. I'll show you how we do that once we get deeper into the code. We're going to run through here. So you'll see we do one scroll, and we found this album here. I'm not going to say the name. You'll see that we have found this album here below the mouse, and we're going to click on it. We have then landed on the new post, so the post has been selected using the computer vision. Next, we're going to be clicking on the next button, and then we're going to very quickly click on the next button as well. So you'll see the first next button, and then instantly the second next button. This is where the fun stuff comes in. Biggest problem with generating captions is I didn't particularly want to use OpenAI for the obvious reasons. It's not very good, and it's got some very heavy censoring. So I've built a custom trained uncensored model to be able to generate captions that I've hosted on my local server. So what is going to happen in these next couple of steps is we're going to click on the caption box. Once we click on the caption box, we're then going to send off an API call to the LLM that is running on my server, the uncensored one, and then that is going to bring us back a uncensored, sassy, potentially erotic, you could call it, caption. So you'll see we're going to run through the quick process here. So clicking on the caption post, by now we've sent off to the API call, waiting for the API call to come back. We will see that the keyboard has used the fast input. This little section down here is a part of the UI Automator 2 library. So you'll see that we have generated the caption. Life is too short to waste on anything less than pure and pleasure, and I'm always up for an adventure. So, and then see we do an extra couple of clicks here. This is just to minimize this logo down here. I've clicked back into the caption icon, and then you were seeing I clicked the OK that was up here. The reason I'm doing this is just to get rid of the UI Automator. I haven't spent a lot of time trying to work out how to get rid of that. This is just a very quick trying to get this thing running and a proof of concept. So. And then obviously we're going to click on the big blue share button. You see finishing up, ignore this, going to get rid of this later, into the point, and then we open up the next version of Instagram on the device. So as I said before, we are getting the username for the device, and then we are then using that username with the computer vision to be able to find which album we are going to open and which album we are going to post images from, and then which album we also move the image to once everything is being posted. So you'll see up here underneath the blur, that obviously this is the story. When you inspect this with a inspector tool, the username is actually included inside this. So it says, etc., the story. So we have captured, etc. We save that inside the script. And from there, we then use that in the OCR to identify the albums that we're going to pick from and then move to. So it's going to let this run through real quick. We'll run a little bit faster. There is a couple of errors I want to go through real quick. So we'll see same process, exactly the same process over and over again. So we've opened up new post, clicking on recents to see all the albums, clicking on see albums, scrolling through the albums. Once we've found the album using OCR, select the image, next, and then we come here into our caption. Once again, you'll see this is a unique generated caption every single time. Some of them get a little bit risque. I've had to do a little bit of tuning. Some have said some pretty naughty things that are going to get the accounts banned, so we've had to remove that. You'll see I've clicked back on and the OK has popped back up. Once again, that is just to get the share button to pop up. So essentially, there's no point going through any more of this. I'm going to give a real quick run through the code here. It's not going to be anything too exciting. You'll see that we have the typical kind of project structure. Here's all the source code. Here's all the tests. I'm going to go through these in another video. This is something that I am still working on trying to do when building out new projects. Test-driven development, but it's not something that I am super knowledgeable on at the moment. I do find it helpful, but it is also a lot of extra work. So it's just a matter of seeing whether it's going to be worthwhile to continue to do, because it does take a lot of time. But I find with the mocking, it's a bit of a hassle. You'll see here in our main, have a real quick walkthrough of what is going on here essentially. So all we're doing up the top here is importing all the modules that I've created for the script to be able to run. Then here, selected device. So this is going to list out all the devices that are connected. Then it's going to ask us to which one we want to connect to. This screen bounds here is something I've had to implement just due to the particular clones. Because the apps are using clones, they're using random generated device IDs, which I believe is giving me incorrect screen information. So when it comes to clicking, I was getting quite a few errors. So I've had to pull the screen bounds of what the device actually is to be able to set the clicks to be able to get them working correctly. So you see here that we are then listing all the Instagram apps, and then we have a for loop. So the first time this will run, this is obviously going to be class as true. You'll see where this gets updated in a minute. So then for a selected app, we're then going to open the Instagram app, make sure the device is logged in. If it is not logged in, we're then going to continue, so which means we're going to move on to the next app. Generate the resource IDs. We can get into this in a minute. No, we might as well do it right now. You'll see here we are generating the resource IDs. The reason that we're doing this is every single Instagram is a different version of the clone, which means they have a different package name. So every time we try and click on something, we need to make sure that we are providing it to the correct package name. So otherwise we're not going to be able to find anything to click on. Back to the main script. See Instagram interactions. We can go through this. So it's not so bad. You'll see here how we get the account name. And then we come down into album selector. So this here is where we are obviously selecting the album. So this is clicking through all the motions to find the album, and then using the OCR to be able to find the particular album that we are exclusively looking for. These first couple here are clicking into the album essentially. Gallery folder TV is when we click on recents. See here I have the permission handle as well. This is for new devices and new clones that haven't had permissions enabled. Then we'll come down. This is the first click. So this here is the first click once we selected the image, second click once we've selected the image, and here we are generating a caption. You'll see this is super simple. Generate caption. We are preparing the caption box, so we're clicking inside the caption box, then entering the text using the send keys method here from the AutoUploader library, and then we are writing the caption. So writing the caption is rolling these two functions together essentially. So you see here, generate caption, doing the API call that I was talking about, and then we go send the text where we do the click back into the text box to be able to bring up the OK. You'll see here by my log, and then we wait for the share footer button to come up, and then we obviously click share. Once again, nothing super complex, just trying to get everything really working the way that we want it. If we go over here in OCR, you'll see here in that album selector, this is essentially what we're doing. So we're setting the current album. We do this by getting the name from the story image at the start. Every time we are in the album, this is the function that is clearly taking the screenshot. And then using OCR, we then define the element essentially. So we're using computer vision 2 and I can never say this right on here, PyTesseract to then process the image, get the names, and then all this here is just looking for the text inside the image. So then we have scroll to find album. This one is self-explanatory, as is click album, as is get current album. That's pretty much it for this one. It was something I've been working on that I find other tools were just we're just missing. I think just due to the complex nature of handling multiple clones, it's understandable. But this is now fully automated. Like I said, it does have a couple bugs, but these are very, very simple to iron out. If you got this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. If you know someone who'll find this interesting, don't forget to share, chuck a like on the video, and I will see you in the next one.